Well, good morning, and hopefully, right. Uh, uh, Hopefully, things will work this morning. the We've done a little bit of experimentation. We've got one other plug-in to get today, which we couldn't get yesterday because of the holiday. But perhaps the picture will be that much better, he said. And it's a little chillier outside this morning, not quite as balmy as it has been, and it most certainly was over the long weekend. The sun didn't shine brilliantly, but it was very pleasant, very, very pleasant indeed. And I hear, no, I don't, I hear little noises. And we will check in a little while to see whether we've got a decent picture. But first of all, welcome to the White Hart Hotel in Lewis, where we broadcast from Monday to Friday, from 8:30 till 11:30, with a little break at 9:30. And with our usual troop of friends and people and bits and bobs and what's its and has its or its or whatever, but certainly no isms. We do not entertain isms here. Don't give a fig about pulling statues down or wokes or changing the bloody language. We are very, very traditional indeed. Look at that! I've got a timber coming out of the top of my head, and some people would say that's a good place for a timber to come out of. But what I would say is you are looking at timbers that are centuries old, and under which many, many famous people have passed. Many earth-shattering events have taken place, and it is here today, and still, as the plaque outside says, the cradle of American democracy, because Tom Paine in the 1700s, late 1700s, wrote The Rights of Man, in which he argued that the power should not be in the hands of a few elite. Certainly, that would ring true today. Because we've gone full circle, and it's about time that was broken. Anyway, we've got a call, but we'll just have to ignore it. Anybody who knows us knows very well that we're broadcasting at this hour of the morning. So we won't pay any attention whatsoever. We'll get back to them in due course. Right. That's a good start to the day, isn't it? So a little chillier, about 12 or 13 degrees. No rain, cloudy overhead, and we are live and full of beans. I think we're full of beans anyway. And we'll take a look at what's going on according to the papers, the news headlines. Now, the Daily Telegraph. Johnson in Ukraine is ready for its finest hour. And as the Russians turn up the heat, so the resistance in Ukraine seems to get tougher and tougher. The Russians are making headway, but only just. And considering that we've always thought of this as one of the great mighty powers, is they're making heavy weather of taking over their neighbor. And Johnson is now says he's about to unveil a £300 million package of military hardware to when he speaks to the Kiev Parliament later today. And it is. There is no doubt that there is brinkmanship going on here, because Putin has said, "You as much as tamper in this war, and we will unleash very worst hardware missiles and so on, and we got enough to actually turn Britain into a bunch of rubble. Let's see. We don't have a strong signal, and I do apologise for that again, as we are doing something about it. And that's the best we can do for this morning. We'll just have to put up with it, and I do apologise if it's a weak picture, a bit of a fuzzy picture. Not much I can do about it until noon today, and then I shall do something about it, I assure you. So stick with us. Stick with us. We're full of good intentions. Okie dokie. Let's see. So Johnson says Ukraine is ready for its finest hour. We are putting in a few million. The Americans are putting in a few billion. And all in all, it looks as if even France and Germany, who have been reluctant suitors in this particular instance, they look as if they are going to. What? That should be all right, and I don't understand why. Never mind. We will. We'll put up with it and not pretend to know what we're doing when it comes to the technical side of things. All right, the finest hour, and also a sub-headline is the Tories are braced for the worst local election results since 1990s, and the 1990s, of course, saw the Thatcher phenomenon start in 1980, and by 1990 it had run its course. And although they hung on for 3/4 of that decade, in 1997 Tony Blair swept the board, and it looks as if Keir Starmer's lot are going to do the same thing here. However, let us stress this is only local elections, and strangely enough, and don't ask me why, but we here in Lewis, in this part of the world, are out of kilter by 2 years. We have our local elections 2 years after everybody else. So we are not going to the polls today. We can only look to see what's happening in the rest of the country. So don't get your knickers into a twist about that. Delays in policy to send migrants to Rwanda fuels record crossings. Right. I mean, talk about communication. We can't do it ourselves at home, but boy, in these emigre camps and so on, is the communication system is like wildfire. The moment that they heard that there are delays in sending migrants to Rwanda, the boats are out, and they are loaded with people all over the place. They are sent to the shores of France. They pile in and over they come, because, chaps, you're not going to be sent to Rwanda. Not at the moment. There are delays in that policy. So get over there quickly so that you miss that sort of thing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here's my baby. The Times. Crumbling and filthy hospitals putting patients' lives at risk. Well, it's one of those things that I've been thumping the desk about, and nobody pays a blind bit of attention. I mean, actually, I do, as the Jamaicans would say, is beat my gums. In other words, I shout and yell a lot, and nobody pays any attention whatsoever, which gives me an even greater sense of satisfaction, when in fact what I find out is that I'm right. I write so often. It's astonishing. The trouble is that I'm right before the fact, and nobody pays any attention. I'm right after the fact, and everybody claims credit. So we are hiding to nothing, I'm afraid. An absolute hiding to nothing. Right. Then the crumbling and filthy hospitals putting patients' lives at risk. We have said for a long time that the NHS needs reform. No, 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 no. Look at let us bang bang the drum. Let us bang frying pans and so on to show our support for this wonderful NHS. Well, it's a liberal dream. NHS is a crumbling mess, and while that is not an attack on the doctors and nurses doctors and nurses and frontline staff and support staff. It is an attack on the monolithic bureaucracy that manages to pay millions of dollars, millions of pounds for a computer system that reminds you the day after your appointment that the appointment is there, and it's going to cost them 160 quid if you don't keep it. The signs have been there for years and years and years, and nobody does anything about it. Why? Well, because they don't. Admitting failure in this country is remarkable, whereas in many other parts of the world, failure is you either meet it and do something about it, or you get out. There's nothing wrong with failure, as long as you're trying and you're experimenting, but we don't. We actually laud failure. Wow, well done, thou good and faithful servants. Look what you've done. You've screwed it up again. Well, you screwed it up again. And rising inflation to blow £7,000 hole in pensions. The gold-plated schemes will not keep pace as the cost of living surges. And there is some suggestion that the cost of living may go as high as 10%, double figure inflation. And the analysts have been working their little butts off over the weekend, doing number crunching, and they say it doesn't matter. You can have these gold-plated pensions, and it isn't going to be enough to cover the costs. God only knows what's going to happen to the rest of us. Luckily, I've already got holes in my shoes, holes in my socks, holes in my trousers, and I've got a clean shirt. And that seems to protect me from looking as if I'm down and out. It's there. See the shirt. Look at the shirt. See, pristine it is. Yes, you can't see the holes in my shoes. The Guardian. Patel faces mass legal action. Patel faces mass legal action from Ukrainians stuck in a visa backlog. It doesn't take long, does it, for the lawyers to get cracking? What can we actually have a go at the moment? Right, okay, well, these people were supposed to be given a visa and they haven't. Sue. I used to think that was a very American thing, and it's become a very English thing now, a very British thing. Is you don't know what to do? Sue the beat. It's just one of those things that I just find distasteful. The mass legal action from Ukrainians who couldn't get a visa. Well, it is shameful that our civil service couldn't rise to the occasion. And as a consequence, a lot of people haven't got a visa. Now, that is shameful. And we should, the dreaded word for a politician or for a civil servant is we should look at reform. But if reform is not available, why should we sue? Why should we sue? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There was something on offer and you couldn't actually get it. Next, we'll be suing because a store offers a discount on margarine. And when you get there, they've sold out. Oh, I shouldn't make that suggestion. Somebody will pick it up. The Sun. The Queen's guards let a fake priest stay the night. Right. Okay. There is a security probe going on, and a fake priest was allowed into an army barracks and then stayed the night after pretending to be a priest. And it was the Coldstream Guards barracks near Windsor Castle who were conned by the fake priest, the paper says, and the priest could have gained access to Windsor Castle and the Queen. So he's bless you, my son. Is I wonder how many people went into the confessional. Is the next thing we'll find out is he's going to sue somebody because they won't let him blackmail what he heard in the confessional because he wasn't a priest. His mind boggles. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Metro, the fail of the century. The Metro, the London paper, is a play on words. The fail of the century. Rather than the sale of the century, it's the fail of the century. Just to make it quite clear to you, because you're listening rather than you're not watching. But the intruders who posed as a priest and ejected seat pilot, invited to stay by the castle guards, given a room. Father, would you like to stay the night? Father, do let us take you into the mess. Yes, it's subsidized drinks again. Because we don't get taxed in there. So it's that easy. Let's see. We're still the connection this morning is just not good, and we'll have to do better. We'll have to do better indeed, and we will try that a little later in the day. Right. Okie doke. The eye. Tories hit by infighting on the eve of election. Oh, wow, they just love that. Ministers are battling to limit the scale of defeat in this Thursday's local elections are caught up in a row over leadership, with potential candidates Jeremy Hunt under fire. Hundreds of seats at risk in the biggest electoral test since Partygate, with major campaigners warning former health secretaries maneuvers are a distraction. But Hunt allies hit back. Well, Jeremy Hunt, who is a failed member of the bid to become prime minister, is making noises about running and getting rid of Boris and so on and so forth. And the Tories are saying, hey, on the eve of an election, you're doing this. And his supporters are saying, oh, what the hell, whenever. The Daily Express, Boris' right to buy plan is a vote winner. Right, okay, what's that all about? The Daily Express says that Boris Johnson's right to buy plan is a vote winner. The paper says he's determined to level up with a right to buy scheme similar to Margaret Thatcher's flagship policy. And basically what he's saying is that council house tenants can buy their homes at a discount. Right. So if you're in a council house, you can have and if it's similar to the Thatcher plan, you can easily buy your council house because they make it so damn easy. Is you're paying less than the rent that you are paying. Well, is it a vote winner? I don't know. First of all, this obsession that we have, which the rest of the world does not have, in whether you can buy whether you can buy your house or not, is well, it is an obsession. Is many places in the world find that the policy of renting is far better, far greater, and far more socially leveling than owning your own home. I mean, what's the difference? If you can't pay the mortgage, you get tossed out, and if you are renting and the landlord doesn't like you or wants to do something with his house, you can get tossed out. Life is full of risks and chances. Why not? Why not? Just make it even Steven. You want to buy? You want to rent? It's beyond me. It's absolutely beyond me. The Daily Mail. Where have our GPs gone? And I think that this will strike a chord with a number of people because trying to get an appointment with your GP is almost impossible. But it says that here that each GP, on average, each GP right throughout the country have got 2,000 plus patients each. And that's an awful lot of patients to see in a day. So now, some of us try very hard to stay away from the surgery. Yes, we need occasionally, and particularly as you get on a bit, we need some care and attention. But we try very hard to say, look, we're not going to be bothered with or bother the doctor with a few things. There are others who are there 3 times in a day over nothing. So it's a leveling up experience, I think. But where are the doctors? Where are the surgeries? I think that the whole damn thing of globalization, which is what I call globalization, or making things better or bigger because they think it'll be better, is wrong. And it's proving to be a complete and utter disaster. But if you are the person that's actually tried to make sure that things are going all right, that you planned it and you plotted it, you're hardly likely to turn around and say, "Oh, it hasn't worked." But that's the problem, isn't it? Is you make the silliest of mistakes and you're in headlines. Is where have our GPs gone? Probably taking cover from my own profession because we're always having a go at them. The Financial Times. Johnson enlisted for a last-ditch bid to wrestle arm into London listing. That's a stock market story. Chip designer is poised for New York. A blow to the tech sector. SoftBank pressed to rethink. Well, basically, I think the idea is that it should be listed. This ARM, the high-tech company, should be listed in London and not in New York. And so they're trying to get Boris to use his influence to get that done. Phone of the Spanish PM, Sanchez, was hacked. That's supposedly number 10 was hacked. So whoever is doing the hacking, and there is some suggestion that it's coming from the Middle East, is taking aim at all, quote, Western countries. The Daily Mirror, the Queen's Guards intruder blunder, but the Mirror goes with a Maddie prime suspect, a danger to society. And the courts have blocked a rapist's bid for freedom. The McCanns tell of agony 15 years on, but then there is a big article in one of the papers this morning saying it couldn't possibly been this guy. So are we using the ends to justify the means, or the means to justify the ends, whichever way around you prefer? But the Maddie thing rumbles on after 15, 16, 17 years. The Daily Star, forget passport delay woes. Britain is set to be hotter than Crete, Ibiza, and Saint Tropez. It could be up to 23 centigrade. We're med for it, it says. A play on words for Mediterranean. We're med for it. And the headlines in the Star say that Britain is said to be hotter than Crete, Ibiza, and Saint Tropez, with temperatures poised to rise 23 degrees centigrade from Tuesday. Well, that's today. So we'll see how the temperature fluctuates around today. It's always yeah. I'll get my bikini out. That'll shut everybody up. All right. Those are the major headlines. A bit of a mixed bag, but one of the things that we are missing because of the latest news is that the Russians continue to pound Ukraine. There is no let up as far as that is concerned, and it is unfortunate that no let up as far as that is concerned. Well, on my phone, the picture isn't that bad. So on my phone, hopefully it's not too bad on yours or on your laptop or whatever. However, we are aware that it's a very weak signal, and we hope that we can do something about it. Now, it's Tuesday, and normally with all our changes, we haven't really had a chance to consult with the people that make this thing go, our correspondents, and I hope that we are going to get Fergus Wood with us at 9 o'clock. He said he could only spend 15 minutes, but let's hope that he can get through, and we look forward to seeing him. That is, if we sent the that right link. We did do it in a bit of a hurry, and but anyway, we'll see, because it's not yet 9 o'clock. In fact, what it is it is 8:58. 8:58 on a Tuesday morning after a decent bank holiday day. It started out a bit damp. It looked as if it was going to be a bit of a miserable day, but then it improved until in the end, and I actually went to Brighton yesterday, and we found that we had a decent day by about 3 o'clock or so, and it was nice wandering the streets. Not that I wandered too far, but nonetheless, I had a very interesting lunch, very different indeed, but it was very good. And I just wish we'd got some of those restaurants in Lewis, which we don't. Okay, here we go. I think that it's time for our daily visit to the park. Come with me to Grange Park. Take a nice, gentle breath in between the ranting. Well, right on the button. Here he is, the man of the moment. Good morning, Fergus.
Good morning, Keith. How you doing?
All right, and you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad.
Did you have a good day yesterday?
Yeah, it was a good bank holiday, thank you. Yeah, we're quite relaxed, and yeah, just had and then finished off with a barbecue in the evening. So it was quite nice.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, I didn't end up with a barbecue, but I did venture into Brighton, and I thought this was strangely very similar to other bank holidays that I've experienced in the past. Getting back to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah. I was in Brighton on Sunday, and it was very busy. Yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah, it was good. Saturday I was there. Yeah,
right. Well, we're not going to tax your brain asking about the war or Boris or whatever. But in fact, of course, we are now broadcasting from the White Hart. And we've been doing that for about a week and a half now, just to try and get the bugs out. And unfortunately, the signal isn't that hot. But we hope that we can get that resolved today. But what we are going to ask you to do in future weeks is to go back and do your wine show. Mm-hmm. And that we'll do it this way a couple of times a month, but then perhaps you would come down here with your wine and set them up on a table, and we'll invite people in for tastings and so on, and we might even flog a bottle or two.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Right. So I had a nondescript glass of red yesterday. I couldn't tell you what the name was, but nonetheless, nondescript wines seem to me to be not at all bad. The old idea of plonk is that there is a very satisfactory plonk. Now, is that just my taste buds are going with age, or is it true that plonk wines are better than they were?
When you say plonked wines, I assume you mean something like that's not got a region. It's not got a classified region attached to it. So something like a Vin de France or something like that would be like a table wine or something like that.
Yes, and the sort that the restaurant will actually give you when you just say, I'll take the house wine.
Yeah. So a lot of wine producers that we use are sort of they're a little bit maverick in terms of that they how the wine sort of classification works in certain regions is that these bodies will say what sort of varieties are allowed to be grown in this region, and wine growers have to grow it to certain standards and etc. And that's how they get their normal classification. Something under, say, a Vin de France, which is general term for wine of France, or table wine or plonk as you call it, is a lot of wine producers. Well, some of the wine producers that we use are sort of chucking the rule book out of the window and basically saying, I want to grow wines on my own turf, and I will do this in a style I think is best. And so, for instance, we've got a producer that we use called Olivier Coste, and he grows his wines how he wants to, and he's grown a very rare variety called Carignan Blanc, and basically given two fingers to the governing body and said, I'm going to grow this how I want, because I think it's a variety that I think is best grown here, and produces a fantastic wine, and he has to then submit it under a Vin de France label as well. And he's done that with another variety called Mourvèdre as well, which in the Languedoc isn't allowed, where he grows, and the actual name of his wine is called Illegal, because growing this variety is illegal under the classification.
I love that. I love that. Oh, that's great.
So you do get a lot of winemakers that are just sort of you shouldn't look. It's a good indication. Obviously, you got the region, and if you've got Châteauneuf-du-Pape, there are certain standards there which show to the consumer that this is a good wine, that this is grown a certain way, certain set of standards are hit, and you will get a good wine from this. But then you got others like Olivier Coste and a number of others that are sort of going, actually, I don't really care. Let's just do it my way. I'm going to produce a good wine. So it's always try and go with it in an open mind. Basically, you will find some gems.
How much a bottle does Illegal go for?
It'd be I think just shy of £12, basically. So not too bad.
Oh, so not outrageous?
No, not at all. No.
And do you is this one that you import?
This is one, that we have sold before, and it's but it's something we have sold before and it's gone down very well, and people do like that sort of story attached to it. So,
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, when you come down, I insist that you bring a bottle of illegal. That totally appeals to me. Is anything that puts 2 fingers up to the establishment, it can't be bad. I like that, illegal. Yeah. So, how with everything that's going on with the economy, how is the wine industry faring?
Everything's a little bit more expensive, basically, all in all, just because of just the increased cost of everything when it comes down to farming, and then also shipping the stuff as well. So it then leads on to the consumer, basically. So everything's a little bit more expensive this year. Like a lot of our wines are, say, 3, 4, 5, 6% higher in price than they have been before. So compared to last year, basically. So, and I think even this year it will still keep going up and up. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Well, yeah, how if people maybe it's one of the wines, one of those goods that even if the price goes up, people still keep buying it, or if anything, buy more of it. It's a bit like gold or fancy watches or anything like that. It's one of those Veblen good, basically, is what it's called in the economics realm, where if the price of it goes up, people buy more of it, essentially. So, but we'll see. Yeah.
Quite often that is the case. That the more expensive you can make something is, the more people want to buy it. Without any sort of critical appraisal, is just the price is up. It must be okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Now, you are very knowledgeable about wines, and I actually met you. The first time I met you is you were actually doing temporary duty as a waiter, and waiting on launching your business and to keep your hand in.
Yeah.
How I mean, nowadays is you get a degree, you can't get a job, you go and be a waiter. Now, how knowledgeable, generally speaking, do you find in the average restaurant? The average restaurant, nothing special, but also not a deep fry place. How knowledgeable do you find, and the sort of advice that you ask from a waiter? What should I have with my meal? Or what's this wine? What sort of advice? How good a quality is the advice that you get?
I guess it obviously varies by establishment, and you probably head to the barman or the manager, or the bar manager as well, to see who probably have the most amount of knowledge. But in my experience, a lot of the people that I've worked with or still do work with at pubs and restaurants don't have the greatest of knowledge around wine, or even opening a bottle of wine or champagne. They're very nervous about it and don't really have a clue. So I guess that all sort of stems from the training you get. And if you're probably in a very well-run place, the staff will be on the spot with it all. So yeah, it varies by place, but I'd say it should be. If I ever ran a restaurant, it would be very good practice. You just got to go know all this sort of stuff, because I think it helps with the whole experience and the whole reason why you go to a restaurant and to be treated and to learn about something else and try stuff you don't try at home and stuff like that. So yeah.
Are you going to open a restaurant?
I don't know. Maybe when I'm older, it'd be nice to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just a spring chicken, folks. He's 24. And a man on the way up. People are knowledgeable about wine and so on and so forth. Is generally speaking, on the continent, waiters and people in the catering industry are very highly trained. I can remember in Northern Ireland there was he became a friend, a chap called Tony Loiacono, and he would bring in Sicilian waiters into his restaurant and they came and virtually for nothing because they wanted to be trained by whom they called the master, and they called him the master, and he trained them extremely well. But nowadays, it would seem to me that waiters wanted. And in they go. They last for 2 or 3 days. Something else comes along, and out they go. Now, is that serving the hospitality industry, or have I got it wrong?
To be honest with you, I don't have. I'm not. My finger's not on the pulse of the hospitality industry to a large extent. But in my experience, you do get those sort of flaky types, and yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's quite a young person's game, the hospitality area. So you get a lot of youngsters that sort of will do it during the summertime, or that sort of stopgap between finishing a degree and then going off traveling or something like that. So you're sort of in there for a few months. Very rarely do you sort of probably get seasoned people unless they're at very well-end and high-end restaurants or something like that. So I'd say in Lewis, I'd say as well, you probably get a lot of youngsters that have just finished school or finished university and all that sort of sticky period between moving on to various chapters of life. So yeah, I'd say within small towns of Lewis's size, I'd say it'd probably fit that description quite well.
Now, I actually, for my sins, get to know a whole range of people, and people I find quite fascinating, but some of them are absolute bloody snobs. And they would, as a matter of course, send back a bottle of wine and sort of say it's corked, or there's a little bit tainted here. Can you do that with screw cap?
You can do, yeah. It's the probability or the chances of it are much less than with corks. Obviously, if the seal on the screw, that little sort of plasticky film that you get on the inside, if that's not been sealed correctly, or if it's out of a line or something like that, air will get into the wine, and especially if it's traveled or anything like that, then the wine will become oxidized and will taste of that sort of wet dog or cardboard sort of smell, which is not ideal that you want. So it can be that it's just the probabilities are much less because they are designed to be better at stopping air getting in, basically, or stopping oxygen getting into the bottle compared to cork, basically. So yeah.
What percentage? I mean, I'm asking you all sorts of questions off the cuff, and it doesn't really matter whether you're that accurate. But I mean, you are a wine expert. What percentage of wines are sent back, and justifiably so?
I think. I mean, last time I sort of thought about this question or researched on Google or something like that, I think it's only about 2% or 1% of wines. It's really not that much. Yeah. And
do you? I mean, you're a supplier to both wholesale and retail, are you not? Do you get much return?
No, getting zero return. No, we've never had a bad comment about our wines or any people saying that it's corked or anything like that. So yeah, just testament to the sort of quality that we represent and what we want to do, really. So
yeah, I remember once in Vancouver. There was a very fine Italian restaurant. It was one of those sort of backdoor jobbies. You had to know it was there to go there. But he had a shipment of wine, and diesel oil had seeped into the hold, and they had soaked in through the cork, and the whole series of cartons with the wine was totally damaged. All of it. So he kept on opening bottle after bottle after bottle, only to find out that it was polluted. I mean, is that sort of thing happen very frequently, or is that a freak one-off?
I'd probably say that's a freak one-off. You don't hear much about that, to be honest with you, even in the wine mags that you get. And you probably wouldn't want that to be exposed. Well, explain too much either. So yeah.
Well, you certainly wouldn't if you were the carrier, if you were the shipper.
Exactly. Yeah, you probably want to sweep it under the rug pretty quickly or bury it quite quickly. Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm appreciative of the fact that you're under pressure this morning and you've been with us for 16 minutes. But before you actually take off, tell us what wine have you got that you particularly recommend this month? Why do you recommend it? And what sort of price range are we talking about?
There's a wine that's been on my radar. Well, I've been wanting to promote for a long time, just trying to find the right time. And now that we've had a beautiful spell of weather and we're now transitioning into summer, you're looking at you're barbecuing a little bit more, and you maybe reaching for the sort of nice dry white wine with a little bit of banaz. So there's one on our website called a Cantos de Miegas, which is a northern Spanish wine from the Galicia region, and it's a blend of all different varieties. I actually got one here. It's from the region of Ribeiro here. Got a beautiful little witch on the front as well. And this is a blend of Trexiadora, Albarino, Gadea, Luero, and Torrontés as well. So it's a blend of all sorts, and it'd be perfect for sitting by the barbecue, have it nice and chilled, maybe with a couple of ice cubes in it. And it's got some beautiful lemony, apricot-y sort of notes with a bit of a creamy edge to it. Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous for sort of the summer.
Yeah, I mean, is that common to have so many blends in one product?
Not really. It's again down to the winemaker and where it is, where it's grown. But that particular wine, the Cantos de Miegas, those varieties are very the main white grape varieties grown in that region of Ribeira. And yeah, just making a blend of it, you make the wine more complex because you've got little touches of all these little grape varieties, and all to help make the wine a little bit just taste more exciting for the consumer, basically. So yeah, it's up to I mean, I mentioned one variety, a Gadeo. We've done I think back when we started our filming a couple of years ago, I think I brought in a wine which was just 100% Gadeo, and that's really gorgeous. And the winemaker, by adding different varieties, just wants to make a more complex wine, basically, and just sort of add little touches and thinks they would complement each other really nicely and stuff like that. So
yeah. And what sort of price range is this one that you just showed us?
That's about, I think it's about $12.49 or something like that. So still very accessible, very easy sort of price point. Yeah, you can knock back a few of those pretty easily, I'd say, with some friends. Yeah.
Right, and now remind everybody and take it slowly, so that anybody who's not familiar with your company can take down the name and how to get a hold of you and how to buy some of these gorgeous wines at what I would consider to be a very, very reasonable price.
So my company is called Camino del Vino, which is spelled CAMINODELVINO. And it's Spanish for wine path, and we try and look for uncommon and interesting wines around the wine world and try and evolve your palate, basically. And so the wine I just showed is a good example of what we try and do, but we also have wines from Greece, from Lebanon as well. So we really try and introduce you to some amazing wines from around the wine world. And you can find us online at caminodelvino.co.uk, or we're also on social media as well, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that sort of stuff. And you can get in contact via any of those pages, and it'll be me, the founder, Fergus Wood, to help you out, basically.
And not to forget Illegal.
The Illegal by Olivier Costa. Yeah.
I love that story. That's a terrific story. Whatever you do not sell the last bottle of Illegal before I've tried it.
Okay. Yeah.
Fergus, thank you very much for joining us. I know just how busy you are, and we will, as we sort ourselves out, gradually be talking to you about coming down here. I mean, I'd have you down every day, but perhaps once a month when we could actually do a specific day which is good for you, and you bring a few bottles of wine down and perhaps have a little tasting. But also, as I say, if people want to buy over the table, I'm sure that nobody is going to say nay in offering them. So Good to see that you're alive and well. I'm not sure about the haircut. It looks a bit like a convict's to me, but
Really?
but he's not a bad chap. He's not a bad chap at all. Thanks, Fergus. Talk to you next week, but probably before.
Smashing. Lovely to see you. Hope you have a good one. Cheers.
Bye. Right, Fergus Wood, and it is now 21 minutes past 9. Let's take a look at the papers again. I see a couple of little circles. I think that the internet is striving mightily to keep up, but it is not. It's not great this morning. Let's just, before we go back to the papers, let's look at Susan's pictures again. There we go. It is 23 minutes past 9 o'clock on the 3rd of May. I waited for a bus for over an hour yesterday because the buses were diverted as the Knots of May, I think it's the Knots of May Society, demonstrated and danced and did Morris Men and so on through the streets to celebrate May Day. May Day falling on Sunday, so it was celebrated yesterday. And a good way to start really what I supposedly is summer. However, the warning, ne'er cast a clout till May is out. In other words, the weather can be a bit capricious. This morning it was a slight breeze. I can't see, it doesn't look as if there's much of a breeze at all. People aren't hanging onto their hats, but nonetheless, we have to be very careful about saying that it's going to be a really first-class day when we don't really know. Right now, let's take another quick look at the newspapers. The Daily Telegraph. Johnson, Ukraine is ready for its finest hour. And really what he's celebrating is the fact that 300 million quid of taxpayers' money is going in a package of military hardware to support the Ukrainians in their fight against the invader. And Ukraine, tales of horror, but nonetheless, also the military might of Russia has been held into question, at least when it comes to its ground forces and its backup forces, because it ain't doing that well. And now Vladimir Putin, and I do not take this man lightly. I think that we are at our peril ignoring when he says, I've got enough missiles to demolish the United Kingdom, is I think that under the right circumstances that he would launch a missile attack on these shores. So I think that we have to be very careful in the way that we actually look at the support that we're offering to Ukraine. I'm not saying don't do it. On the contrary, I think that would be both cowardly and it would show us not worthy of international friendship. But by the same token, I think that how we do it should be not done in a knee-jerk way. In the same paper, delays in policy to send migrants to Rwanda fuels record crossings. In other words, hey chaps, they're not sending us to Rwanda at all, just for a few minutes, for a few days, few weeks. So cram into the boats, because once you get there, you'll be given all the benefits that you get when it's the Brits. The Times, crumbling and filthy hospitals putting patients' lives at risk. That's its banner headline. The other headline is rising inflation to blow a £7,000 hole in pensions. Now, how the hell they calculate £7,000, I have no idea, and I don't intend to ask. But one of the things that many people have sat back and enjoyed for a good many years is we have a gold-plated pension, and it actually is in line with keeping with the inflation, annual inflation rate, which has been virtually zero pre-lockdown, and is now possibly approaching double figures. So if you've got a pension, don't sit back and feel sorry for those of us who have only limited pensions, because you're going to be just as badly off in the long run as we are. Right, The Guardian. Patel faces a mass legal action from Ukrainians stuck in visa backlog. Oh, the old lawyers are there, aren't they? Is sue the bastards. So they send out their agents and say, go and ask these people whether they're prepared to sue because they haven't got the visas as quickly as they anticipated it should, or at least the government has promised. To me, it's immoral, but there we are. Safety fears over toxic hostility to councillors. When things go wrong, many people have to have somebody to blame. And since we are today having local council elections, there is a hostility abroad, apparently endemic, to the people who have been in power for the last 4 years. And that some of them are going to get a bad ride today as they monitor the polls and go around and kissing babies and stuffing cigars in their mouths and so on and so forth. The Sun, the Queen's Guards let a fake priest stay overnight. Is the Coldstream Guards, apparently, is some guy turned up at their barracks door and said, hello, I'm a priest. I wonder if I can just nip in and stay, because I'm quite often at Windsor Castle, and unfortunately I just haven't got my pass or whatever. Oh yes, they said they took him into the mess, they fed him, they wined him, they dined him, they gave him a room for the night, only to find out he wasn't a priest at all. They'd been taken in. So, but I mean, there is a non-laughing matter in as much as this man could have got next to the Queen, and then it becomes a serious security issue. The Metro, it's 9:29, so we're almost there. Metro, the fail of the century, same story, different headline. The Eye, Tories hit by infighting on the eve of election. Jeremy Hunt has sort of said, I'm tipping my hat for the leadership. And a lot of Tories are saying, why would you say that on the eve of the local elections? And so that we've got infighting going on. And that's unsettling. The party just went, they wanted to be as calm as they possibly could in the face of electoral disaster, probably. Daily Express, Boris' right to buy plan is a vote winner, says somebody. Well, let's say it's the Daily Express, which is very supportive of government policies. And Boris has said, yes, we'll help people buy their council houses, a rerun of Margaret Thatcher's policy. The Daily Mail, where have our GPs gone? 2,000 patients per GP on average around the country. The Financial Times, Boris Johnson gets involved in trying hard to keep a technology company, Arm, listed on the London Exchange. The Daily Mirror, Maddie, a prime suspect, a danger to society, a man who is suspected of being the kidnapper of Madeleine McCann, is a danger, says the authorities, and we're going to have to watch him. Right, well, we've run over our time. The Daily Star. We're med for it, it says, MED. And what it says is we are going to get hotter than Crete, Ibiza, and Saint-Tropez, with temperatures poised to rise to 23 centigrade from Tuesday. Well, that's today. So we'll see. We'll be able to tell you tomorrow whether, in fact, that prediction came true. That's it for our first hour. We'll be back in about 10 or 15 minutes with our second hour, Affairs from the Heart. And that comes from the White Hart in the center of Lewis. So for the moment, toodle pip, and we look forward to seeing you in 10 minutes or so.